Okay, I just want to make sure I get this. So we're actually paying college tuition prices for childcare, and 55% of us parents are going into debt to cover childcare when the government could do something about it, but simply chooses not to. If you're new here, hi, I'm Sarah, a postpartum planner helping moms be intentional about their pregnancy and blossom into the version of themselves that motherhood calls for. I believe that how we perceive our realities directly influence how we behave and think about ourselves. So I do a lot of research to ensure that I can identify where the false narratives are coming from and reframe how I see myself on my motherhood journey. And I'm bringing all of that information to you. And today's chat is part of my signature series. It was never you, it's this broken system. So grab a cup of something good for you and let's get into it. During World War II, Congress passed the Lanham Act, the first and only national child care program in American history designed to fund child care for kids whose moms went to work during the war. The act granted $52 million for public child care and allowed private companies to set up on site child care centers for their workers. All families, regardless of income, were eligible for child care for up to 6 days a week, including summers and holidays, and parents paid the equivalent of $9 to $10 a day in today's dollars. At its peak, there were 3,102 federally subsidized child care centers with 130,000 children enrolled. And these centers were high quality. Many of them had low student teacher ratios, served meals and snacks, and taught children arts and other educational activities. There are centers that featured large outdoor play yards, wading pools, and each center employed teachers, a nurse, a dietitian, and a social worker. Some centers even offered home service food, which was a nutrition program promoted by the First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt that offered hot dinners that moms could pick up when they came for their children. This was the reality in the US from August 1943 through February 1946. But after the war, the federal government stopped funding these childcare centers. Some states recognized how critical it was and they continued their funding, but those funds dried up by the end of the decade. We know how tough US households have it when it comes to paying college tuition prices for childcare. Nationally, childcare prices currently average $13,000 a year for one child. And to put that in perspective, the median cost of a year's worth of rent in 2022 was $15,000. But even families who can afford childcare often find themselves in childcare deserts, waiting for over a year for placement. And this lack of access affects some children more than others. Ableism is the intentional or unintentional discrimination of those with disabilities and compounds the child care crisis. A recent report by the Center for American Progress laid out several ways this crisis disproportionately hurts children with disabilities. The report estimated that half the country lives in childcare deserts, where the number of kids under 5 is higher than the number of available childcare spots. The problem is, these stats don't take into account that not every available slot is accessible to children with disabilities who often need specialized care. More than one third of families that have children with disabilities report having difficulties finding care. When there finally is a spot available, parents are often faced with program policies that violate the principles of inclusion, like barring children from specific activities, inappropriately holding the children back from their peers, or being in facilities that don't offer ground floor access or elevators. I remember coming across a video last year for like a kids holiday choir where a little girl in a wheelchair was placed to the side of the stage, nearly off the stage. And the parent captioned the video something like, "And this is the moment I chose to homeschool." It's a video that still makes me emotional because you can see the sadness in the little girl's eyes. And the comments were filled with so many easy fixes to her position on the stage. But it all felt like it was an afterthought to the staff that put on the show. That is the dismissiveness we're talking about. Many parents of young children report leaving their jobs, not taking a job, or making significant changes to their job due to problems with childcare. The Center of American Progress estimates that more than 2 million parents of young children, nearly 1 in 10, make at least one of these career sacrifices every year. That number rises to nearly 1 in 5 for parents with children with disabilities. USA Today published an alarming story that puts so much of this in perspective. Nearly half of parents caring for children with disabilities report suicidal thoughts as a result of the financial and emotional strain piling up on them. As one mom said in the article, sometimes being a mom means that your needs come last. But that is an outdated belief that moms have to lose themselves in motherhood. Motherhood was never meant to be this lonely. But Western culture's move away from multi generational living has created an isolation that gives moms without extra income little to no access to resources to help them. Despite civil rights protections, children with disabilities often fail to receive any of the services that they're entitled to. On top of that, states are slowly losing their funding and they're responding to that by narrowing eligibility criteria and consequently serving fewer children. But there are ways that we can fix this. We can expand resources to make childcare more inclusive and increase pay for the entire childcare workforce so programs could recruit and retain highly skilled educators. The government could support families by investing in childcare, something we know that can be done because we've done it before. And in case you're thinking this could never exist in present day, here are examples of countries that currently address this issue head on. Sweden has public childcare that is heavily subsidized, and costs are capped based on parents' income and how many children they have. France offers a robust system of subsidized childcare, including family run daycares, certified childminders, and universal pre K from age 3. In Japan, the government guarantees childcare access starting at age 1. And the local Tokyo government recently announced free childcare for all children under 5. In Spain, affordable childcare starts before kids even turn 1, with free public school kicking in at age 3. In New Zealand, families receive weekly payments for each child under 3, and lower income families are eligible for significant childcare subsidies. In Denmark, public childcare is accessible and affordable for kids starting around 6 months, with fees capped at no more than 25% of the actual cost of care. Starting in infancy, families in Germany have universal access to publicly funded early childcare education with income based subsidies. Families also receive a monthly per child stipend to help families cover the costs. We know that a child's brain is 90% developed before they even turn 5. Yet, here in the US, we put families in unbearable predicaments in the name of individualism and American exceptionalism. For a brief window in this country, we had universal child care programs, and American parents were actually supported. But today, most parents are trying to maintain a fragile and nearly impossible to balance system of work, childcare, and life. So I say all this to say, if you are struggling to figure it all out, it isn't you. It was never you. It is the lack of infrastructure in the US because the system is broken. I hope this knowledge helps you realize the systemic issues parents are up against. And I hope this reality check helps you remove any blame or shame or guilt that you've placed on your shoulders because it isn't you. It is this broken system.